Well, whew, this video is long overdue. As the title says, I found the love of my life in Jamaica. And it's not the typical romantic love, it's the love for life, the love for me, the love for what God's given me, the love for everything, I think. And I found it all here in Jamaica. So let's get into it. Jamaica has aided me in my healing process. Um, I didn't realize that there were so many areas of my life that I hadn't really addressed or I hadn't really dealt with, over the years. And as an adult, to be quite frank, if you have unresolved issues from childhood or things like that, they do come out in your adult relationships, how you see yourself, what you do. It comes out in your day to day. And I think Jamaica, highlighted things about me and issues within myself that I never really knew. And I think, to be fair, when I first came as an adult, that first trip revealed things to me. At the time, I never thought it was a revelation in any area. But now looking back, it's like, no, it highlighted certain things that are wrong with you. And not just like wrong with me, but things I had been dealing with and hadn't really resolved. So first things I'd probably say is that Jamaica really revealed to me my level of low confidence and self-esteem and what that looked like in a country that culturally as a people, it doesn't matter how much money you have, what you look like or whatever, you are the best of the best in your world. I recently remember having this conversation with a few family members of mine, some of my cousins that live out here in the island. And we were just casually just talking, having a laugh in the evening and discussing about, how people see themselves and specifically how women see themselves in regards to beauty standard. Now, I'm not sure if many people know, but Jamaica definitely has a very wide bleaching culture. And I won't comment on that, whether I think it's right or wrong. Each their own, do your thing, whatever. But part of that discussion was talking about how women see themselves, whether they're beautiful, whether they're not, and so forth. And I remember a comment I made. I'm trying to think about it word for word, what it was that triggered my cousin. And I said something on the lines of, well, like I'm very much probably maybe seen as an average woman. I don't know. I don't think back home where I am, I meet that typical beauty standard. And my cousin just stopped me in my tracks and said, nah, 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 nah. You see all that? That needs to go. And he literally just said to me, well, actually him and a friend, he said to me, listen, in your world, you are number one. You are number one. You are the star of the show. You are the 10. You are the 15 and even more. And literally, I laughed. I said, listen, I completely get that. That's about, you having a level of self-confidence with yourself. But I'm very much aware of society's standards of what beauty looks like and what parts of that I fit in and what parts of that I don't fit in. And literally, they just said, bun the standard, bun the society, bun what anyone else is saying. Just enjoy you. And you know what he said? At the end of the day, Mikel, you are your world. Like there's no one else you're going to compare yourself to. So the societal standards basically mean nothing. Now bear in mind, when he's saying all this, he's not speaking it the same way I'm speaking it. He's bossing patois, which I'm not going to watch and try and imitate. I'm just not going to do that. So yeah. It's definitely made me address how I see myself, my confidence, whether I'm lighter, darker, bigger, smaller, put together, not put together, at any stage in my life, whether I'm healthy, unhealthy, whatever. You are it. Like you are it, and that is exactly what I really proud the Jamaican culture on. You guys do not play with that. And I'm not saying there probably isn't people out there that do struggle with like self-esteem, self-image issues and all of that. But the general consensus, whether you're from country or town, is that you are the 10 in your world. Like, you are that. So live it, breathe it, keep walking in it. And yeah. So to any other women that are out in the US, Britain, Canada, whatever, and you need a little bit of a confidence boost, come out here. Come out here. Come and enjoy. If you ain't done that one piece or the bikini set, go buy that thing and go sit on the grill beach. Ain't no one watching you or judging you. Just chill and relax and just embrace who you are as who you are in that moment then and then. Don't think about what you're going to do to improve yourself. Just do it now. Like, tomorrow's not promised, so just do it. I think another point of why I fell in love with Jamaica was because each time I came out here, even when I was battling myself and my own issues, I don't think it was anyone else, to be fair. I think these were my own issues. I found new versions of me every single time. Every single time. Like, the version of me and the UK and the version of me here do not compute. They just don't. They do not. They don't. I don't know what it is. I think when I'm here, there's a level of mental freedom that I get, and anything's possible. There's no barriers. Anything is possible. If I want it, I'm gonna get it. We're gonna get this done. Boom, bam, bosh. If it's a little bit daredevilish, or if I'm gonna do something that's a bit risky, I'm going for it. And that's it. I'm going for it, and I enjoy it. Even like today on this video, usually now I'll be worrying about, oh, my eyebrows are not done, my hair's not, back to, edges ain't done, blah, blah. When I'm in Jamaica, I don't care that much about it. That doesn't mean I won't dress up. And trust me, I dress up to go out, don't get it twisted. However, on a day-to-day, it's not a problem. I could just go like this and feel free. And I'd probably say it's really... Jamaicans live in a way that us in the UK don't live. I think there's so many restraints on how we live life there that when you come here, it's like, oh. And there's a mental freedom with this culture. Nothing can stop you. And that leads me on to the next thing I'd say. Jamaica allowed me to love me more for myself and for who I was there and then. I love myself way more than I think I ever have, even when I'm not at my best. Even when, I think there's things I could do better, do differently. I still love me. I love me in the great times. I love me when I'm not so great. I love me when in the chaos. I do, and I think Jamaica really helped me to do that. Another big area that Jamaica helped heal me was my grief journey. Now I'm going to do a complete separate video about how I'm doing in regards to me losing my mum and so forth, and how that grief looks now in comparison to the last video. But I have to say that the journey may have looked very different if I hadn't had left and come home for a few weeks. It's been very difficult either way, but Jamaica has aided and helped me to get through this in more ways than one. In the most weirdest way, when I'm out here in Jamaica, I feel more connected to my family and my roots, whether I see them or not. For some reason, I feel more whole here. And therefore, when the grief does hit me, at times, it doesn't hit me like a wave where I'm under some sort of level of darkness. It hits me, it comes, I process, and I move on. That period looks like, could be maybe a few minutes to maybe an hour. Whereas in the UK, that can look like an hour to a week. And it's just so strange. I can't describe why, the grief moments hit me and they last longer in the UK than they do in Jamaica. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that, or they're doing what I'm doing, or they've gone through that. Please comment below. But because to me it's my journey. It's the same person, but I don't know what it is when I'm not at home, or and I mean not at home in the UK. It just feels much worse and much more lower in the parts when the grief hits me. Right, I'm gonna just so the last few bits I think I want to cover is really about homing more deeper into just the culture itself. I think I mentioned this already in regards to how I see myself, but now this is more just about the people, the culture out here, and so forth. Um, so in regards to like the people, I feel like the Jamaican people, and I'm not saying that I don't consider myself to be Jamaican. I do, but I understand that there's a clear difference between me as a member of the Jamaican diaspora and those that are born and raised here. They have a resilience from childhood. They have a resilience that I think is incomparable to the resilience that our British Caribbean or our Caribbean children in the rest of the world experience. The resilience is innate, it's within them because it's part of how they've had to live and grow up. The barriers that they have are nothing like the barriers we faced. And because the barriers technically, if you're speaking from a Western viewpoint, some of the things children, teenagers, and adults have to go through here without additional support and without aid, especially different, support like from government agencies and things like that, they have to make do. And I'm not saying that this isn't me. I'm saying that Jamaica doesn't have, support out there. They do, but the infrastructures of those systems look very different, and therefore the outcomes are very different for children and families. So they have to really knit together as a community and come together. And I witnessed this a lot when I had the privilege of meeting up with some of my friends and go to some of the garrisons in Kingston and learning that even if there isn't additional aid or there isn't additional money, the people come together and they support one another. It's not about who's doing this, who's doing that. It's not about who's going to get what from, doing something. Everyone comes together and we pull through. Now, I know that one of my really close friends out here would beg to differ, that he thinks the close community can sometimes breed contempt and also sometimes cause its own sort of politics of the road. But however, how I saw it was that irrespective of those differences and difficulties, the community turns out, the community comes together. Whether you like it or not, you lot are family and friends just because of maybe the lane you live or what you do. Everyone's watching out for each other, maybe watching too much of your business, I don't know. But it was something that was warm, something that I don't always see, or I haven't seen for a very long time in the UK. That sense of community was there when I was younger, but not now. We are very much more isolated. It doesn't matter if we all live in the same block or whatever. We are very isolated to ourselves and we do what we want to do in our bubble. If we're struggling, we don't go to the neighbor and ask for help. We somehow make it on our own, and that's about it. And to be fair, I always remember, when people say, and I believe it's a verse in the Bible, man shouldn't really be alone. And I don't think that's just based on romantic relationships. It's also based on family relationships, friendships, and so forth. Man just shouldn't be alone, and we should be able to lean on one another without prejudice, without, judgment, and so forth. So yeah, I love the community aspect of Jamaica and what it does for people. Even when they're going through hardship, they can lean on one another. Everyone's pulling together to help someone out. I wouldn't have been able to get through this trip on my own without my people here, and that's from family to friends, and that's from all the way up in the grill to all the way down to the I probably call it more like the southeast coast in Kingston. Yeah, so yeah, that's all the way from Westmoreland all the way down to St. Andrew. And I've been able to make some really good connections, even beyond my immediate family that live here. And it's because of that sense of community. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sending anyone out here to be talking to strangers and doing foolishness. I'm not. But what I'm saying is that if you are wise and you're smart about how you do things, you can make really good connections and friends here. And, you know, yeah, and live a really good life. Jamaica has a much more slower pace of life. Now, that's another thing I'm going to mention. So where we come from the West, everything's speeding. We're always moving fast, 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 fast. This needs to get done. We need to be prompt. Boom, 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 boom. But I would say that in Jamaica, things are slower. So you're forced to bring it all in, slow down, relax, take it easy. Now, the cons to that is when you are in a rush or there's an emergency, they're still moving quite slow. And that would frustrate someone that's been raised in the US and probably Britain and Canada. And that, yeah, like, you know, I had an issue out here in Jamaica for this trip, and it required me to see the police. I had to go to the police. And let's just say, you know, I thank them very much for the help that they gave me. It was very much required and needed. However, that process in London would have probably taken 2.5 seconds, which nearly took an hour here. And I was like, oh my gosh. And by the end of it, there was still something that wasn't completed. So learning, if you have an issue with patience, you need to come to Jamaica. You will be forced to learn patience. You know, there were other times when I had to go to certain institutions, certain government buildings, and I had to learn patience. Oh my gosh, I nearly lost it to how long something took that I know is probably 5 minutes. We're talking about 2-3 hours. And I'm like, wow. If I didn't know patience, I know it today. So yeah, it's a slow pace of life. It has its pros and cons. But I think the pro is that it forces us to slow down. And by us slowing down, we're giving our body time. We're giving our body time to relax, to chill, to unwind, to breathe, to heal. So yeah, I thank Jamaica for allowing me to slow down at times, like right now. I also want to talk about the vast difference between the rich and, well, what's deemed as rich areas and what's deemed as poor areas. For me, one thing I've learned is that personally, whether you're uptown or downtown, Jamaican people are all the same. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's differences because, you know, financial and wealth and things like that will ensure that your life looks a bit different. But to me, the same value I got I got while I was uptown was the same value I got with the people that are classed as or live in areas that are in more downtown areas. It didn't make a difference to me. I don't know what it is. To me, I don't see them any less or any better than each other. I would say uptown reminds me a lot more of home. I think because, yeah, you know, UK somehow is still classed as a first world country. So a lot of the uptown sort of lifestyle is mirrored off American and British culture, I'd say. To be fair, let's just say Western culture. So as much as I enjoyed it, I loved it. If I ever felt homesick, trust me, just go uptown and you'll be fine. Like, you just feel like you're back at home. But where I really understood and learnt more, funny enough, was from my friends and people I connected with in like the garrisons, in areas that are typically said to be more dangerous. I'll be honest with you, me when I was down there, I didn't experience no problems at all. But as I said, there was a privilege there where I knew people. So they were watching out for me, they looked after me. And, you know, these are people that I hold very dear to me. So yeah, I didn't experience any issue at all. So yeah, Jamaica has been the love that I didn't realize I needed, you know. It's brought me a joy in life that I couldn't get from anywhere else. A joy in life that I don't think would have happened if I hadn't had come. You know, it allowed me to break past some of the restraints and mental barriers I have when I'm at home in the UK. And I'm really hoping that when I return, those barriers don't just come back up. That actually, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. We will push through whatever is in our way or whatever stops. We'll keep going. That's one thing I would always take from Jamaica, and I think that's why I've loved it so much, is that there's nothing that's impossible. There's nothing that can stop you. And I'm just so happy that, and I have to actually add this in, I'm aware that not everyone can experience certain things the way I've experienced it. So I don't want it to make it seem like, oh, you know, she doesn't understand, blah, blah. I do. I know that, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this. I know if I did, but I realized that I do come from a place of privilege. The privilege of being born and raised in the UK, it does come with a serious privilege. So the stance of being a British citizen, being born and raised in the UK, comes with privileges when you come to a place like Jamaica. You are treated differently. You are seen differently. You are respected more just because of where you were born. I am not oblivious to that. And I understand that some people do not have that privilege. So the perspective that I speak about Jamaica from is purely just from my own. And I won't negate anyone else's experience. I also had the privilege of, you know, having a little leg up here. I hope he doesn't mind, but my father has done pretty well for himself. You know, he came from a place that, yeah, most people would never believe he would have achieved what he's achieved in his lifetime. For some people, maybe it's not an achievement, but for me and my brothers, we see what my dad's done for us through his accomplishments and how he's been able to set up life back home in the UK and here. And Dad, if you are watching this, I love you very much, very, very much. He's been a really core part to why I love being here and me finding this new version of me in Jamaica through the love for Jamaica. So I think I'm gonna end this video here. I don't know how long this is gonna be. I'm hoping it's not too long. But I just wanna, to be fair, I wanna thank Jamaica. I wanna thank the people here. I wanna thank the culture for embracing me. And don't get me wrong, there have been some negatives, but this video is not about the negatives and I don't care about them. There's negatives everywhere, but I'm not focusing on that. This is purely just about the love for this place. And being a descendant of this culture, I am more proud than ever to call myself a British Jamaican child or the member of the diaspora, whichever one you like. So yeah, if you haven't been to Jamaica, visit it, embrace the culture. If you can, do it in a safe way. Branch out from the hotels, please. Try and get people or try and connect with people, maybe before you leave your countries, that you can meet with and experience Jamaica beyond the hotels and the compounds and the tourist attractions, because the real culture lies within the people and the local people of Jamaica.